We will be doing a video walkthrough of digital SAT Bluebook practice number 1, English module number 1. And a little about me, my name is Azamat and I'm an SAT tutor in Schoolhouse. Let's practice SAT practice test number 1. Next. The strategy that I use is not from 1 to 27. And I don't go from question number 1 to question number 27. This is just gonna be so hard. First, I'm gonna solve easy questions first, and then I'm gonna go to hard questions. Some people suggest that you gotta use the strategy called like first you're gonna go to 14 or 15 or 16 to know where grammar part starts, and then go to from that from for example question number 15 to question number 27, and then go to question number 1 and solve from question number 1 to question number 14. But I don't use this strategy because every time I just click those uh, question numbers, it's gonna take some time. What I use is I will immediately go to question number 27, and then I will go from question number 27 to question number 1 so that I won't waste some time. So let's start. Question number 27 wants to emphasize a difference in the origins of two words. That's important for me. Uh, So choice A, Gordon, the final word of the is of Anglo-French origin, while the following year's final word, I'm not gonna bother myself reading those words, derives from ancient Greek. They're comparing the origins of those two words, like Anglo-French and ancient. Other choices, there's nothing about the origin in B. This one is just telling the origin of just one word, and it's telling that it's from ancient Greek. But we want the contrast between those two origins. Here we have nothing about origin. Present the study and its conclusions. So you gotta say the study, when it was, or what was that study about, and then conclusions as well. Choice A, as part of a 2013 study of cat domestication, they're saying the study, a chemical analysis was conducted on cat bone fragments found. Okay, there is nothing about conclusions. You gotta say it concluded that, or it suggested that, or any other word that represents conclusion. Choice B, a 2013 analysis of cat bone fragments suggests that cats there may have been domesticated 5,300 years ago. Yes, that's the correct answer because it's telling the study and conclusions as well. In 2013, archaeologists studied what cats in had eaten more than. I mean, there's no conclusion. Yeah, there's no conclusion. It just told what they studied, and that's it. Choice D, cat bone fragments estimated to be were found in. There's nothing about this study here. So B is correct. Transition questions, although that's important, I always look for these types of words. Although those who migrated to California dreamed of finding gold nuggets in stream beds. The state's richest deposits were buried deeply in rock. So they were buried deeply in rock, beyond the reach. Like beyond the reach. We can't actually reach it, right? By 1852. So here we had a year of 1590 49. So after like 3 years, many had given up their fortune dreams and had gone to work for one of the largest companies. So we want something like related to time, maybe, yeah, related to time. Furthermore, no, there's no addition. Still, is there contrast? Maybe, but I really want something about time. Consequently, yeah, there is a sequence of time, like 1849 and then 1852. Next, next, don't doesn't really fit in this case. So C is correct. 24. In his book, challenged prevailing views about how natural landscapes influence human cultures, and he or she argued instead of being shaped entirely by their natural surroundings, cultures play an active role in their cultures are an active role. So in this case, it is telling that he or she challenged views, and then in the next sentence, it's telling specifically what views he or she challenged. So I want something like, for example, or for instance. Let's have a look at choices. Similarly, no. Finally, no. Therefore, specifically is a synonym of for example. So back. In November 1934, Aha was living in what must have been looked like the ideal city for a young artist, Paris. She was studying firsthand the color saturated style of France's modern masters and beginning to make a name for herself as a painter. So she longed to return to her child home of India. Only there she believed could her art truly flourish. So there is a contrast. She was studying in France and she was a painter in France. But after that, like she still like longed to return to India. So there is a contrast. Therefore, doesn't represent contrast. Indeed, no. Furthermore, the only choice that tells the contrast is A. Okay, one poll taken after the first presidential debate suggested John Kennedy lost badly. So, okay, lost badly. Only 21% of those who listened to on the radio rated him the winner. The debate was ultimately considered a victory. So there is a contrast, right? Lost badly and victory. There is a contrast. In other words, no, therefore, likewise, no, nevertheless, contrast, right? 21. During this period, many writers imitated the epic poetry and satires of ancient Greece and Rome. They were not the first in England to adopt the literary models of classical uh, antiquity. However, some of the most prominent figures of the earliest period were also influenced by ancient Greek and Roman literature. So grammatically, A is incorrect. Uh, B is also incorrect. So I'm between C and D. So what we have to do is find a contrast between whether the contrast is between the first sentence and the second one, or between the second and the third sentence. So I guess the contrast is between the first and the second one. Why? Because in the first sentence, it's telling that they imitated from Greece and Rome. And then they, in the second sentence, is telling that they were not the first in England. But in the first sentence, it's told that writers imitated from Greece and Rome. So there's a contrast between first and second one. It doesn't matter whether the transition word is going to come in the beginning or at the end or even in the middle. So that's why C is correct. The violins handmade, have been celebrated as some of the finest in the world in close collaboration with musicians, introduced changes, okay, to the shape of, flattening some of the instruments curves and making lighter overall. So I know that those will not be correct because it's talking about violin. Mm, yes, it will be it. Yes. Why? Because here we have violin singular. Yeah, back. Okay. It's a grammar question, so I think I can only read from this part. It's enough to read from this part. Her 2014 novel, Boy Snow Bird, for instance, is a complex retelling of the story of Snow White, while her 2019 novel, Gingerbread, offers a delicious twist on the classic tale of those things. Okay, so here we don't have any uh, comma between like those parts of the name of a novel, so I can put Gingerbread itself here. Sorry for the noise. It's from the metro. In 1966, I'm not gonna bother myself reading those names. Became the first to umpire, okay, baseball game, okay. Energetic gestures announcing when a player has struck out, and his habit of barreling after a hit ball to see if it would land out of bounds. But transfer the traditionally silent umpire role into a dynamic one. Okay, so here I can rid of this part off bounds. I can rid of this part because it's unimportant. This part, which I underline it, is unimportant. Her energetic gestures help it, right? It's not gonna be helping. It's not gonna be that helps. It's not gonna be to help because we want, yeah, because we want to have the independent clause. If like all the other choices will make a dependent clause. Okay, American writer has won acclaim for her powerful short stories. Okay, and essays, praising her lyrical yet unflinching depictions of her history. The writer has compared this to this. Okay, I mean here that's a long sentence, and I believe that we need like a pause here. So that's why this is correct, and the other way, like, and the other reason why this is correct is because here we have a independent clause, and then after that we also have an independent clause after praising, right? So that those two should be like independent sentences. Question number 16. In 1930, artists depicted the natural beauty of park into memorable woodcuts. Okay, in 2019, alongside 150 of Avam's other works. Okay, depicted in other works as well. So, mm, so Obata, there was like a beautiful park which was Yosemite National Park, and Obata made two woodcuts. So other works here we have to refer to other works. So there are two works that he's done before, so that's why it's gonna be there were exhibited exhibited alongside 150. Why A is incorrect? Because it's not referring to the park. I mean, other works and like works are two woodcuts. That's why they were is gonna be correct. B is correct. So in 2011, these two writers joined forces to found. So they two writers joined to found that's a book packaging company that specializes in the creation and promotion of stories told from diverse perspectives for children and young adults. So the only grammatically correct choice is B. You can't use comma before that. So this is text completion question. I'm not gonna bother myself reading these names. So it's a plant. It's become invasive. So it displays native vegetation, displaces, right? So that's something negative. Sickens cattle. It can be controlled with chemical herbicals. But that approach can also, so here we have something positive, and then, but still, it can kill harmless plants nearby. So we gotta do something, right? Even if we will have those sorts of chemical herbicides, it's still gonna kill harmless plants nearby. Recent research on introducing engineered DNA into plant species to inhibit their reproduction may offer passwords exclusively targeting. Consequently, so we want something related to not killing harmless plants nearby or something related to it. I mean, I guess, but my guess is not always gonna be correct, but still it helps me to understand what sort of choice I'm looking for. Choice A, making individual those plants more susceptible to existing chemical herbicides. No, we actually solve that problem. Like the rule, chemical herbicides, it can also kill those harmless plants, but uh, like when we introduce engineered DNA, we have to solve that problem. The problem is killing harmless plants nearby. So A is wrong. Enhancing ecological benefits, nothing about ecological benefits. Enabling cattle to consume without being sick. Like being sick is already solved by chemical herbicides. We want to solve the problem of killing harmless plants. So C is wrong. Reducing invasive numbers without harming other organisms? Exactly. This is exact paraphrase of killing harmless plants nearby. Okay, you have text of like quantitative command of evidence. Over the past those years, the percentage employed in agricultural sector, so agriculture, has declined in both France and the United States, while service sector has risen. So that's important. I highlighted all those important parts. However, this transition happened at very different rates, right? Very different rates in those two countries. So this can be most clearly comparing the employment sector by both. Okay, we are looking for very different rates. Okay, so A, 1900, 1900 with 1950. Agriculture has to decline. We don't care about manufacturing, by the way. It has to decline in both France and US from 43 to 32, from 41 to 14. That's a sort of a different rate, I guess. Service from 28 to 35, from 31 to 53. I guess that's also a different rate. Yeah, a kind of a different rates. So let's have a look at B, C, and D as well. 18,000 and 2012. From 64 to 3, 68 to 2. No, they're like almost the same. 14 to 76, 13 to 80. Almost the same. So B is wrong. 19. Thousands with 12, 2012, 43 to 3, 41 to 2. This is almost the same. 28 to 76, 31 to 80. Almost the same. I want like very different rates. They have to decline and like increase in very different rates. 1800, 1890, 1900. 64 to 43, 68 to 41. Almost the same. 14 to 28, 13 to 31. Almost the same. So A is correct. I do have a little time left, so I'm gonna be going faster because I was explaining a lot in those questions. In grammar and transition questions, I was explaining a lot, so that's why I'm gonna be going a little faster. Price, okay. Burn less energy. Okay, so this is important. Hypothesize that because Arctic ground squirrels hibernate alone, they were longer bouts of torpor and shorter arousal episodes than Alaska. Okay, we don't care about how many we have, we care about the duration. So A, like the correct answer choices has to both tell it accurately and just support these. Is it telling support? Yes, it's telling support. Alaska's marmot's arousal episodes, so arousal episodes lasted for days. No, it's like 21 hours, not like days, right? A is wrong. Alaska marmots and both maintain it. No, this is like ground was maintained for several days. I mean, we want to support this. We want to compare those times, but here it's not comparing those times. Alaska marmots had shorter torpor. Yes, 13 is shorter and longer. 21 hours is higher than like longer than 14. So C is correct. Let's have a look at C. No, no, we don't care. We don't care about the numbers. So I'm gonna read that quickly. So a general measure may not fully reflect uncertainty about specific, as in the case while in the United Kingdom, where general economic policy uncertainty, okay, align closely with uncertainty about in 2015, but different from in 2009. No, like this is factually incorrect. Was substantially lower than uncertainty. No, because it's factually incorrect. Which is the highest level in 20? No, like it's not the highest, by the way, here. General economic policy was substantially lower in, higher. Yes. It was substantially higher than other years in 2010. It was substantially lower in 2005. So I'm gonna read that quickly. Yeah. So show it. That's important part. That material in CPC or ACT dust has a lower rate than the same material. So the same material in faster moving dust, for example, of iron. We want the iron because saying the same material, we're gonna eliminate sodium here. ASD. So we gotta compare that ASD to either HCC or OCC. So here we have HCC. Is it correct? Yes. We can't compare to CPOs because it's so slow moving. Okay. They're naturally dense food, but they're difficult to digest. I'm highlighting most important parts. High levels of soluble fiber in compounds like nose. So they contain anti-nutrients like tannins and K, which interfere the body in the research. When there was fermentation, improves the digestibility and makes them more nutritious. So it gotta be like the opposite of all these stats. When cooking contain more, uh, trypsin, I'm not really sure. No, because there are not more of those trypsin inhibitants. Less, yes, less soluble because it's contrast to these. I guess B might be. I mean, let's have a look at other choices as well. On to, huh? There's nothing about nitrogen in the text, so C is wrong. D, no, both of these did not contain fewer trypsin inhibitors. Like non-fermented had like higher levels of these. So B is correct. Main idea. Here we have a poem. The poem is addressed to a close friend as he was physically present. Okay, I hurry to my bed, the dear repose for limbs which travel tired. Okay, begin a journey in my head, mind, where's body. So, like the main idea is like he can't really sleep. He's just thinking about his friend, close friend. Okay, traveling. There's nothing about traveling to see the friend. An upcoming trip. Nothing about the trip. He's just thinking. To fatigue to continue discussion. Nothing about being fatigued to continue discussion. It's thinking about the friend instead of immediately falling asleep. This is exactly the same like main idea. Okay, this text is adapted from Now the Moral of Vision. I'm not gonna bother myself reading those names. Was a woman of strong individuality whose comments upon her acquaintances, present or absent, were marked by frankness at times no less than startling. This characteristic caused her to be more or less avoided. Miss Chelsea was aware of the sentiment on the part of her and rather exulted in it. Okay, so what's true about the acquaintances? They try to refrain from discussing subjects that upset. There's nothing about discussing those subjects that will upset her. They're unable to spend as much time as like the text is saying that her acquaintances don't want to spend time, but in B it's telling that they really want to spend but they can't. No, it's completely opposite. They're too preoccupied with their own concerns. No, there's nothing about that. D, they're likely offended by what she has said about them. Yes, because she comments upon them. So what's true about Eleanor? Okay, this is from Now Sense and Sensibility. Okay, she lives with her sisters and mother. So Eleanor's advice was so effectual, so she gives really good advice. She had a strength of understanding, she had a coolness of judgment, and she was the counselor of her mother. Okay, so she had an excellent heart. Her feelings were strong. Every single thing about her is positive. Okay, 5 minutes left. Nothing about arguing with her mother. Nothing about being sensitive. The passage is more about like Eleanor being like really positive. No, she doesn't think her mother is a bad role model. Nothing about her mother being a bad role. Yes, she's mature for her age. All these characteristics represent that. Okay, text one. When companies in the same case one another, they often claim that will benefit consumers by increasing efficiency and therefore lowering prices. Okay. I think this note in the context of the United States, merger of okay, subscription prices would rise following a merger. Okay, text two. Economists have argued that research on the effects of has focused excessively on short-term effects, which tend to be adverse for consumers using the case of okay. Over the long term, the efficiency gains released by do result in economic benefits. So text one is stating the claim, and text two is saying that it's just for short term. The long term is gonna be better. So text two would say that just focus on like being short term or long form effects. Please, maybe A, not sure. No, nothing about another newspaper market. Yes, C is correct. Like over an extended period, it's telling that it has to focus on the long term as well. Yeah. No, nothing about in most other industries. A is incorrect because um, it's not really like the best choice here is C. Okay, I'm reading it fast because I have very little time. Okay. So links persist across centuries and continents. Okay, so links persist across centuries and continents. So the purpose of this, I need to find the purpose. No, A is wrong. Nothing, it's not exemplified by this discussion. It's not a generalization. I guess maybe it might be, I'm not sure. I mean, it's not an alternative explanation because there's not another explanation as well. Mm, so I'm between B and D. The reason why B is incorrect is because it's not exemplifying this sentence. This sentence is not telling that it's is persisting across other continents and centuries. Is it telling that? Oh, I guess it's not telling it. So it had been attacked doesn't mean it's like the complete opposite, I believe. So that's why D is correct. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna read it fast. Okay. So it's telling about what they're less confident about. No, nothing about perceiving, like others perceiving it. No, it's not the central finding. It's just talking about what they're less confident about. Yes. It's not the limitation of a method, by the way. So influence, inspiration. It's by no means no is negative, so we want another negative to have the positive of aspiration. Substantial is not like negative, so that's fine. Unimportant, yes. Okay. So they have a problem by diversity loss, and they can take simple steps. So if they can take simple steps, it will be it can be common, it can be concerning. If they can like take simple steps, it can be preventable. Undeniable doesn't make sense here because if we can take simple steps, we can easily prevent it.